And we created Coming Together Richmond, and just for like grassroots organization of how do we fill a need? And that's really what it came down to, is like they lost the volunteer drivers. How do we fill that need? And so that's how kind of where Coming Together Richmond began.
Hello, everybody. I'm Chris Donnell with Remax West Coast and the Donnell Real Estate Group, Richmond's community realtors. And here we are on episode 2 of Amazing Richmondites. And I'm really happy to have Karina Reed with us today. Karina, along with her husband and 2 sons, have lived in Steveston for 8 years. She is a community advocate, community organizer, and has been advocating for Richmondites on many different issues facing Richmond. Locally, Karina is passionate in advocating to create an equitable city where everyone feels belong. And globally, she volunteers with an advisory group at the IRCC, along with Immigration, Refugee Citizenship Canada, collaborating on experiences newcomers face in Canada. Karina feels the pandemic has brought our community together. And as we turn to each other for support, she has also created the Kindness Rocks group called Steveston Rocks Group, and Coming Together Richmond. Together as a community, we can make a difference. Karina, how are you doing today?
Great. Thanks so much for having me, Chris. I really feel honored. I really appreciate that.
You're well, absolutely. You've done some amazing things here in our community. You're consistently year after year, and we just wanted to recognize you and what you're doing here and let everybody else know. But my first question for you today, Karina, is tell us something interesting about yourself.
Well, I was born in Northwest Territories in Yellowknife, so most people don't, they're like, wow, you're born in Northwest Territories? Yes, I was born there. I grew up in Victoria. Something very interesting. Oh goodness, I've lived in a few different countries. I traveled a lot. I worked on the cruise ships for years. I lived in England, lived in Costa Rica, traveled throughout Egypt. So I did a lot of traveling, I would say. Some interesting stories I have from working on board a cruise ship. So that would, the traveling part of my life was really formative, and it's interesting because I built a career in hospitality and tourism. Although now, halfway through my life, I've changed my focus and direction, and now I'm pursuing a degree in critical race theory and a degree as a UBC in social justice.
Well, good for you. And how's that coming along?
It's lots of work. It's always interesting going back to school, as a mature student. But it's really great, connecting with like 19-year-olds that are, ready to, it's just great because like I'm learning from them and I bring a different perspective because I've had a lot more life experience. But anytime you can educate yourself at any point in your life, it is a gift. Education is power.
Absolutely. I totally agree 100%. So what does it mean to you to be a Richmondite? You've lived here for 8 years now. What does it mean?
I think the number one thing is community, and to understand that who your neighbors are, what do they need, what does someone in your community need, and how do you reach out to help each other. I think now more than ever we've seen that in our community, and I just really hope that community connection continues, because I think it's really different now when you say the question, how are you? Because I feel like you're getting a little bit more honest answers, because most of the time we're not going to just say fine, it's great. We're actually having honest answers, and I think that creates great dialogue between each other. So number one word I would say is community.
I 100% agree with you, and obviously we've been working close together with the Coming Together Richmond group, and I just the amount of community that's being built up through our community is quite amazing. And that's the hidden thing with COVID. It's brought us all together a lot closer. I feel, and I think, you've been a major part of that. Now, so what have you been doing? I know, but tell everybody, what have you been doing to, I guess, better our community?
So end of March last year is when I read something about, or no, I called the food bank just to see how they were managing with their load of inquiries with the pandemic, and they had mentioned all their volunteers. Um, because most of the volunteers were elderly, they had to step down from being volunteer drivers. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's awful. So then I, called you, two other amazing friends, and we created Coming Together Richmond, and just for like grassroots organization of how do we fill a need? And that's really what it came down to, is like they lost the volunteer drivers. How do we fill that need? And so that's how kind of where Coming Together Richmond began. And so it began where, we were filling the need from helping the food bank, but it's become so much more. I think that the group in general is more of a social justice page within our community. So people post things about protests that might be happening, or petitions, or good stories about community members making a difference. And it's also a way to ask for help. So sometimes people will post that they're giving away, or have a food drive going on, or might, see with someone that is in need, and I can connect that person with someone else. So it's been a really incredible tool of connecting people that maybe, people didn't before have those opportunities.
No, I totally agree with you. And yeah, you are doing some great things in the community. So thank you on behalf of everybody here in Richmond, because you're definitely making Richmond a better place. So that, makes me move on to my next question is, what is motivating you to do what you do?
People. And I really believe we as people are the change that we all want to see in this world. And civic engagement is critical for a healthy democracy and a healthy community. So the more that we become involved in our community, the more that we attend school board meetings, attend city council meetings, the more that you write letters about certain injustices that are happening, and that you become involved in the decision-making process, because our voice does matter. And if there are decisions that are being made at council or school board, use your voice.
Yeah.
And collectively, we can make a difference. So I think I just really want to see more civic engagement happening. I understand, like, obviously with COVID, it's different, but there's a lot of power to writing a letter, and there's a lot of power to asking 3 other friends to write a letter, because change can happen. And so I would just say, for everyone, if you're frustrated about an issue that's happening in your community, get to finding out who your MLA is, finding out who your school board trustee is, writing to council, and yeah, you get your voice known. We can make a difference.
So what can, you kind of answered this with the last question, but I'll say it again. What are some of the ways that our viewers could help you with your cause, and could, help you push making our community better?
So you can join our Coming Together Richmond Facebook group, and then just to kind of see what sort of things that our group is doing. But most of the time I do post things that are needing some interaction from, like, whether it might be letter writing or something. Like I usually do a call out to say, hey, could everybody, possibly write a letter about this? And then some people are like, yes, let's do this. And then I think that a lot of the times you may not know the issues that are going on in the city, and so get informed. And on Coming Together Richmond, we do share that information. I recently wrote a letter about affordable housing that was published in the Richmond News, because that lawn bowling project is $5 million for taxpayers. But it's only on one level, and our seniors, we have the highest poverty rate of seniors in all of British Columbia. And that should scare and make everyone in Richmond think, wait a minute, why are we pushing and holding our seniors back and not letting seniors have affordable housing? Our
Yeah.
poverty rate for seniors is 20%. Somewhere in Richmond, there are many pockets of our community that has a child poverty rate of 40%. So
Wow.
I think it's really important for people to look at the affordable housing documents on the City of Richmond page and look at what are the issues in our community and what can we do. And we can write letters. We can, call our city council, call our MLAs, and ask for more clarification. And also, I think it's important to look at how look at your city councilors and look at the voting record. Look at how are they voting, and then in the election that comes up, you think, hey, you know what? I'm not going to vote for someone who has voted against, A, B, and C. I think it's important to do your homework and understand that our voice matters, and keep at it, keep advocating.
I love it. And our voice does matter, and you matter to us, Karina. Thank you, thank you, thank you for advocating for us Richmondites and, bringing community amongst us. I remember last year we actually interviewed you because you started the Steveston Rocks group. That was our first video of 2020. And it's funny how 2020 just went so crazy, and here we are a year later, and I'm really thankful and grateful for our friendship that we've created over the past year with you and your husband, and you guys are just amazing. Your family's amazing, so thank you, and we wish you nothing but the best here in 2021, and just keep doing what you're doing because you're putting a lot of smiles on people's faces. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. Yes, and Steveston rocks. Our community rocks.
And
And
it does.
I love, speaking of rocks, I have one right here.
There we go. I even have some of your beautiful painted rocks in our garden out front. So
Yeah, and I think it's a nice way to just spread joy in any darkness. There can always be light. And so if we can spread light within our community and smile to each other, then that's what's important.
well, you're absolutely doing that, so continue doing that, and we will definitely catch up with you later on in the year and let everybody know all the other amazing things you're doing. So thank you, and make sure everybody joins to the Steveston Rocks group, where you can paint rocks, take photos of them, hide them in Richmond, throughout Richmond or Steveston, and people will take photos and tag people. And also coming together, Richmond, we always need new drivers. Oh, and by the way, how many deliveries have we done now as a group? I think we're close to over 500, I believe.
Oh, I think it's even more than that. At least we have 40
600?
deliveries a week, and we started
40 deliveries a week, and we've been going strong for about 40 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're well over 600 deliveries, I think.
Yeah. And those deliveries end up being relationships, because
Yes.
now that's the beauty of this connection is now these over the holidays I got lots of emails and photographs of one of our volunteer drivers and taking a picture of one of her new friends from delivering from the food bank, and it's amazing. It's created relationships and community, and yeah.
Yeah, well, it's my favorite day of the week is Tuesday morning, where I get to pick up my 7 deliveries and drop them off to the families that I've gotten to know over the past year, and it melts my heart every week when we drop off the items to them. It's amazing, and thank you again for starting this. And yeah, we wish you nothing but success here in 2021. Thank you for jumping on the Zoom call on episode 2 of Amazing Richmondites. And remember, everybody, it's our city, our home. So let's do something about it, and let's create community. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.